Good morning. Welcome to Recovering Addict. I'm LT. I'm an alcoholic addict. Well, at least I used to be. So what qualifies me to say that kind of stuff? Because 2 times in my life I've hit rock bottom. Early 2000s, became a meth addict. I was a tweaker, girl. I was the tweaker that would steal your stuff. I was the tweaker that would steal your stuff and then help you look for it. Caught a burglary charge. Did about a year in jail, 4 months in a halfway house. Got scared straight, got my life together, started climbing the ladder in the corporate society, doing the things that I needed to do, buying houses and raising a family, and did really well. And then in my late 30s, mid-30s, I should say, I started drinking. And guess what? Addiction grabbed me and slammed me down to the bottom once again. Just about lost everything and had to check into a rehab. Spent 6 months there. And then in 2019, I quit. And I've been 4 years sober ever since. Good morning, everybody. Geesh, good morning. Yes, I am starting early today. I'm not feeling too hot today either, man. It's day 5 of my 75-day challenge, and I haven't fixed my banner yet. Let me fix my banner real quick while I'm talking to y'all. Can't even see that far this morning. I feel like I'm getting a little cold or something, maybe. I don't know. Something going on in my chest. My body is super sore. Workouts, from what is going on? Oh, wrong keyboard. Wrong keyboard. There we go. Day 5 save. Scroll that bad boy across the bottom. Day 5 of a 75-day challenge is what you're witnessing here. I challenged myself to do this for 75 days, and that's doing 2 workouts a day, eating healthy, and coming on this live stream every freaking morning at 7 a.m. Just to get myself back into discipline, to get myself back into doing hard things, because I perform better in life. I feel better in life. And when I'm pushing myself to do stuff, when I'm actively taking control of my days instead of just passively living through my days. But when you actually pursue your days and you actively take control of them, for me, it's way better. Good morning, Facebook user. Glad you are here. I like what Falcon says. Good morning from Olympia, Washington. Celebrating 6 years, 1 month, and 16 days this morning. That is so cool. Hey, just like Arsenio Hall. Y'all remember Arsenio Hall? I'll tell you how old I am. Going hunting this morning, just waiting for my coffee pot to quit dripping to give myself a cup of you got this. That's awesome. Marilyn says, good morning, Falcon. She's from Seattle, Washington. Awesome. Step saver, my friend. I am 4 years, 9 months on December 28th on this journey of transformation. Happy hunting. Yeah, happy hunting. What are you hunting out there? What hunting season is it? Good morning from upstairs. Oh, really? Good morning upstairs, Linky. I'm not a hunter. Just never grew up around it, I guess. I think my brother's taken me hunting a couple of times, and I like the camping part. I like drinking, obviously, at that point, around the campfire, and I like doing all that kind of stuff, but never had a desire to go out, and I'm not against it at all. I'll shoot a deer. Don't get me wrong. I ain't afraid of all that kind of stuff. The thing I didn't like was the process of once the hunt was over. Boom, you got your whatever you're hunting, right? And now it's time. Now the work starts, and that was the part I didn't like. I was like, we got to do what now? I got to start cutting where? I need to get all these guts out of and then I got to try to carry this thing out of here. Oh yeah, not worth it. I have a scale in my life, it's like a fun to work ratio or reward to risk ratio, especially nowadays. And if it's not more fun than the work that I have to put in, and that's just one of those things. It was like the work and grossness of gutting and all that stuff that I was just like, nah, I'm good. Which, whatever. Teach their own, right? It was just something I tried. Didn't really get into. Brad Kendall says, hello, nurse. Hello, nurse. Like Animaniacs, huh? 8 p.m. Central Time tonight, buddy. Yes. Hey, Marilyn. Oh, yeah. So Brad's talking here about a Zoom meeting. So if you have been a part of this community here at Recovering Addicts since 2020, since it started, we started this as a live stream on YouTube back and then the pandemic hit, and we gathered a bunch of like-minded folks from around the world who would meet all the time because AA and, the world was shut down at the time. And we supported each other through all that and became really good friends. So we're a group of friends across the country and across the world that have really gotten to know each other. And sadly, one of our members just passed away November 15th. And no foul play, no relapse, none of that stuff, which was awesome. And he was sober the last couple of years of his life and happy. And it's just sad. Like, we really got to know each other, And so it's time. We all kind of like, man, it's time to catch up again. We've been apart for too long. And so tonight we're going to have a Zoom meeting, and around 7 my time, 8 Brad's time, and whatever time it is in your world. And so that's kicking off tonight. So we're going to try to make that tonight for sure. Marilyn says, hi, Brad. What's going on? 8 p.m. tonight. I'm doing great. So, yeah, that's what I was just kind of explaining. All right, let's get into our devotion real quick. Today, so Amos, my oldest son, he's in from Washington. There's a couple of updates. All the family's going snowboarding. And if you know my youngest son, Link, he was in an accident, got his head crushed. Therefore, he doesn't do extreme sports anymore because we don't want him to bonk his head. So he's not going. I am injured with a torn rotator cuff and a dislocated bicep tendon. Therefore, I am not going. And so me and Link are going to have a dad day today. We're going to, after I'm finished with this live stream, we're going to go to Vasa. We're going to sit in the steam room, maybe work out a little bit and hang out. And then the rest of the day, me and Link are just hanging out, chilling. We're having a good day. Update on my shoulder. Finally, I told you the whole mess of the insurance companies being denied, getting to my surgery, not being able to have my surgery. But by the time I got home, there was a bottle of Oxycontin waiting at the pharmacy for me that I'd never ordered or talked to a doctor about. It was just like magically there. Blew my mind. Anyway, got everything resolved yesterday, and I am on the schedule for January 4th to have my surgery. So for the next 75 days, I'm still going to complete this challenge. But now I have a bigger wrench thrown into the mix, right? Going in for shoulder surgery, which means on the 4th, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'll probably get up, do my exercise, hit my live stream, then I'm going to go do surgery. And then the 5th, I don't know. I'm going to jump on here live. I'm going to try to figure it out, right? This is going to be like a pretty good, intense, go under type of surgery. And I'm going to play it from there. But I'm still going to try to focus on discipline. I'm still going to work through the pain. I'm going to work through. I'm obviously going to rest. I'm going to do it healthy. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm not going to take any prescriptions more than Advil. I usually, I'm an advocate for modern technology. I'm an advocate for modern medicine. It's a blessing. It's a gracious gift from God this day and age, right? If you go back to the 1800s, could you imagine getting your teeth pulled with no antiseptic, none of that stuff? Antibiotics, what a lifesaver that is. I was watching a documentary on this king over in England somewhere, great big palace, fell off his horse, broke his collarbone, and died due to the complications of a collarbone. So if you do go to surgery and there is medication that is offered to you that can help you through your first week of recovery, because rest and pain tolerance, that you heal faster. I mean, it's good for you. And that's why 2023, we're living longer these days than we used to. The 40s is the new 30s pretty much, or 60s is the new 40s and whatnot. So I'm an advocate of taking that medication. And from what I hear, this shoulder surgery is an extremely painful recovery. And so if they give me some type of medication, I will get it. I'll put it in the counter or up on the shelves. Fleece will know full well. My group will know full well. I'm just telling you all, so you all know full well, to all hold me accountable. And if it gets to that point where the pain is just unbearable, 800 Advil, ibuprofens, ain't cutting it, I'll take one. Modern medicine, under the right care, under responsible action, I have no problem with that. As long as everybody has a plan, as long as you understand your addiction and you are closing your back doors and you're letting everybody know in your circle, hey, this is what's going on. And I just need y'all in my corner for the next little while so that I don't end up abusing this. You know how we can do. And it's about honesty. You got to be open and honest in this kind of stuff, right? Yeah, crazy, huh? Oh my gosh, dude, I just watched YouTube video an hour about wisdom teeth, and I was thinking about it. How did they do this? Yeah, screw that, man. All right, here's the daily devotional. So I'm going through the Bible app, and I found a devotion called Freedom from Addiction. This is a straight up Christian talk. Okay, so if you get offended by that, you know what? Open your ears, live a little, try something new. A lot of people are afraid of the Bible. I don't know why. A lot of people pretend like they've read the Bible and know the Bible, but they really don't. And the proof is that in the way they talk, you can tell, like, okay, I'm afraid of it. I disagree with it, but obviously you have not really read how significant the love and depth of the love is in the Bible. This guy says, for years, my addiction drove me into actions that resulted in me being arrested for breaking the law. Oh, imagine that. When I broke the law, I had to pay a penalty. I served time in jail, paid fines. I went through a period of probation, and law enforcement had the legal right to enforce these penalties because I was wrong. You commit a crime, you are wrong, right? Legal, like you are in the wrong. They have every right to convict you and throw you in jail for breaking laws, right? I've been there. I've done that. Like I said, served my year in jail, almost went to prison for 15. I had a 1 to 15 hanging over my head, and whoo, boy, that was not fun, and I never want to go through that again. And in the same sense, spiritual law is the same. This guy says, I sinned and I broke God's law, because God is a judge. For years while he was an addict, he broke God's law. He said, in doing so, I gave the enemy the legal right to torment me. Spiritually speaking, sin opened the door for the enemy to sink its hooks into me. To break free from these hooks and chains and penalty for my wrongdoings needed to be paid in full. So all your wrongdoings, how do you pay for the laws you broke there, right? And that's what Jesus did on the cross. That's the whole purpose. Like, why did Jesus come and die on the cross? Because you have broken God's laws. I have broken God's laws. That law needs to be paid for, right? The crimes need to be, the justice needs to be served for the crimes committed. And Jesus' perfect life and sacrifice on the cross was that over here, justice being paid on this side and then given to you freely, right? That's just crazy to me. It's so simple, right? If I get a ticket, I get pulled over, a cop gives me a ticket for going 100 in a 70 mile an hour zone, and the cop's like, here's a ticket, but I'm going to pay it for you. Don't deserve that. Don't deserve that. That's what happened here. God is the mediator between man, and he gave himself as a ransom for all. It says that in 1 Timothy 2:6. Christ, who never sinned, stood in our place and paid the price for our wrongdoings. When we confess our sins, we are admitting that we are wrong. We are accepting God's forgiveness through Christ's sacrifice on the cross. That is why it is called the good news, because someone paid the cost of my spiritual law breaking and in return gave me an undeserved favor and a clean slate. That someone is Christ Jesus, the Son of God. In his abundant grace that sets us free and then empowers us. You get this power to live free. And these are the chains that we want to break. We want to live in this world free from addiction, mind, and all that kind of stuff. And then after this little devotion, we're going to get into self-esteem. So here's a prayer tip. Thank God for his grace. Gratitude helps in this process, so being thankful. Next, find and confess your sins to a spiritual leader, a mentor, just like it does when you do step 4, you do a fearless searching moral inventory of yourself. And then in step 5, you confess it to yourself, to God, and another human being. The exact nature of your wrongs. Same principle here. During this process, ask God to give you a deeper understanding of Christ's sacrifice on the cross. And remember, every one of us has sinned and fallen short. Every one of us. And I'm the worst of them all right here, y'all looking at. Dive into confessing to God. This is your action step. Why wait? Why wait? Do it now. In confessing our wrongdoings and receiving prayer from another believer, we make things right with God. It is then that God's grace washes over us and sets us free. Spend time with a fellow believer who is walking righteously with God and confess and receive God's glorious forgiveness and empowering grace. That's just a lot like the 12 steps right there. Confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results. He gave his life to purchase freedom for everyone. This is the message God gave the world and the just at just the right time. For God made Christ, who never sinned, to be the offering for our sins, so that we could be made right with God through Christ. For everyone has sinned. We all have fallen short of the glory of God. That is our daily devotion today. And now we are going to get into, get to my notes. Where's all my notes? Whoa. Self-esteem. What does your self-esteem look like right now? What does your self-esteem look like when you quit? What does your self-esteem look like right at the end? You know, your last 6 months of use, your last 6 months of active addiction. Let's go back there for a minute and just look at how you were feeling. How was your self-esteem? What does your physical appearance look like? I know I was completely overweight. My self-esteem, I wasn't even really thinking about it then because I was just a recluse, completely isolating myself except for the little bit I'd go to work. And then when I was at work, I learned how to isolate there and stay away from people except for a few of my friends who knew what was going on. And actually when I would walk in the door, like, man, you stink today, go hide, you know, kind of a thing. And not a cool thing. Brad says, dude, can you send me that devotional? Yeah, dude, for sure. It's in the YouVersion Bible app. So if you have a phone or a tablet or anything, just download YouVersion and then I'll show you where it's at. We can become friends on there too. Watch a YouTube video about it. Oh, we already said that. Hey, LT, what is the link to the Zoom meeting? Brad, you got it? Can you hook that up? There you go. Brad's kind of seems to be the one that's Brad seems to be the one that's kind of spearheading that little thing tonight. All right, rebuilding from the ground up, understanding self-esteem in recovery. So think of recovery as a rebirth of your self-esteem. And I was thinking about that today. And I kind of, another thing I wish I would have realized, and maybe I kind of did, but it wasn't this focused. But when you quit drinking or you quit using and you've come out of the closet, so to speak, that you are an addict and you've sought help and you've told your whole families and friends and you've admitted to everybody that you were effed up and you were wrong, right? And it is time to change. At that moment, you have a clean slate, a blank whiteboard, a brand new script, an empty page, and you get to start over and rebuild yourself from the ground up. What an awesome moment. And even if you don't realize that at that moment, you can still do that right now today. Life is yours, and you can build it however you wish by the decisions and choices that you make. And what do you want? You just got to figure out what you want, right? So self-esteem was eroded in addiction. We had loss of control, right? In addiction often leads to a feeling of losing control over one's life and choices. So you feel like you have no control. You don't have any choice anymore because your only choices are centered around how to get money, how to buy dope, whatever, and how to use. And then the bag's empty. And then you'd start the cycle over again. And it just keeps getting worse. And every time you go through a sack or whatever you want to call it, you're just digging deeper. So you lose control. You feel powerless. You feel helpless. And that severely impacts your self-esteem. Failure to meet personal standards. The whole time through addiction, there's still this part of you back here that knows the high standards to which you wish to live for. But individuals struggling with addiction might repeatedly fail to meet their own moral, professional, or social standards, leading to feelings of what? Guilt, shame, and inadequacy. And then you got social stigma and judgment. You're walking around, you know what you look like, and when you walk through a Walmart or anytime you have to go into public under the influence, because you ain't gonna go out sober, you just have this gnawing sense of people looking at you and judging you and thinking about you, right? And that's a huge character defect of self-importance that we learn in recovery that we don't need to take with us anymore. The stigma associated with addiction can lead to judgment from others. This external negativity can internalize and cause an individual to view themselves through the lens of societal condemnation. So then you look at that society that's condemning you and you own that identity. Self-esteem in the trash, right? Isolation and relationship strain. And that's with your family and your friends and your colleagues. The resulting loneliness and isolation can further diminish a person's sense of self-worth. Why we say in recovery, if you feel like you're struggling, you feel like you are having a craving, you feel anything that's a trigger of some sort, you say it out loud because it takes the power out of it. You say it out loud to a friend and it extremely takes the power out. And I always use this one example because it's the example that it was the first time that I practiced this tool. I had quit drinking. A lot of you have heard this before. We're at our house in Pleasant View. Felice and I, it's like spring. We go out to the shop and we are getting ready to do just some spring cleaning. And I open the big shop garage door and instantly I felt like, where's my beer? Where's my drink? Because it was at this time that I would have taken a few shots and then started whatever project we were going to do. And it was an overwhelming sense of like, where's my beer? Where's my alcohol? It hit me and I just looked around like, whoa, like I need a drink. And I just looked over and Felice was right there. And I told her at that moment exactly how I was feeling. And poof, it went away. As strong as it came in is how fast and strong it disappeared when I put that practice into action of saying it out loud. It was a trip. So when we look at isolation, because if you get a text, okay, so saying it out loud, right? Poof, it goes away. But now we isolate and restrain ourselves from people. And what happens when we do that, when we're by ourselves? And a good example is if you're oversensitive to people and what they may think about you or their motives behind an action or something, right? You shoot them a text and they don't text you back right away. Maybe even a day or so goes by and you don't receive a text back. During that day, those 24-hour period of you not receiving texts, your mind and your imagination starts coming up with all kinds of crazy things of why they are mad at you, why they hate you. What did I do to cause this type of, and your imagination is running that wild. And this is the danger of being isolated and what it does to your personal self-esteem, your personal mental health and habits is your mind runs wild and it usually runs negatively wild. Later you find out that this person didn't text you because their phone broke and they never even received this text from you. So they don't even know this text exists, right? But yet here we are going, oh my God, this person hates me. And that's just an example of how our minds run completely wild, destroying our self-esteem. Physical and mental health decline. The physics and the psychological effects of addiction can lead to deterioration in health, appearance, and mental well-being, all of which can negatively impact self-esteem. Professional and financial consequences, right? You start losing a job, like for me, I got a job on base back in 2010, and because of my criminal record and my history and the felony that's on my record, I felt and had every right to feel this way and should feel this way, that I needed to work 3 times harder than anybody else around me because of the privilege of the opportunity that was given to me. It was such a blessing to be able to get hired at the Air Force Base with my credentials that I worked my butt off. I'm like, I ain't here for the same reason you guys are here around me. This is such a privilege and I'm so grateful. And I need to prove myself. I worked extremely hard for the 10 years that I was there. Getting all kinds of awards, climbing the ladder really fast, becoming a very trustworthy employee of the government. But the last couple of years, when my drinking really took hold, my reputation was going, where's the LT we used to know? Man, you come in here smelling like alcohol. And the crappy thing is I could justify it because my son was in an accident. You know what I mean? I could use that as leverage somehow, that I was on the brink of mental despair. And people, unknowing, would support you in that. Like, oh, my son, they all went through it with me at work, supported us really well. But they all understood it, what I had gone through. And so therefore they were like, yeah, I get it. You should. It's okay. You should. It's not a big deal. When the opposite should have been like, hey, your son was in an accident. Therefore, you need to get your shit together and quit being a dumbass. Behavioral changes that can ruin our self-esteem and unfulfilled potential. You're better than what you're acting. You're better than what you're achieving in life. And when you're up and you're looking in the mirror and these characteristics of these gifts that you have that you're not employing, and you are not being the best version of yourself, but you are being the complete opposite of the best version of yourself, can contribute to a lot of low self-esteem. So how do we combat this? How do you, if you're watching this and you have been battling with low self-esteem, you got years of sobriety under your belt, what are some tools that you use to help you feel confidence? I think self-esteem, when I kind of just ponder self-esteem, it's like being confident. It's more about being confident in the decisions that you're making. It's more about being confident in public because you are living a life of uprightness and good, right? You don't need to be ashamed. You don't need to do that kind of stuff because you're trustworthy now. You're dependable now. And so you have a confidence, which is called self-esteem, right? A good way to start practicing building self-esteem would be positive self-talk strategies. The way we talk to ourselves shapes our self-image. How do you talk to yourself? And this could be a good practice. I always talk about journaling, recovery, world, journal it, write it down. But start writing down your negative thoughts. And when you belittle and talk to yourself, super negative. I mean, calling yourself names. You know what I'm talking about. Thinking of yourself as the worst, whatever. Fill in the bleeps and the blanks. Start writing it down. You haven't. So where my huge negative self-talk has come in is I want to be good at chess. It's just something I want to be good at. I'm not ever going to be, I don't think. It's not a gift I have. I understand the game. I can see it. And I think I can climb the level if I continue to keep practicing, but I just don't have that gift where I'm going to naturally get good at chess patiently. And so I'll play these games of chess, and sometimes I do really well. Other times I make the most stupid moves, the most impatient, just one move sloppy, and the whole game is gone after that. Once you get to a certain level, you make one mistake, when you're equal opponents, you'll lose the game. And in those moments, man, I will smack myself upside the head. I will call myself the worst names in the book and talk about how stupid I'm angry. And chess does that to me. So I need to quit talking to myself like that. I need to quit playing chess with that mindset and learn to learn when I fail. Start becoming aware of your negative self-statements. Pay attention to thoughts that are critical, self-doubting, and pessimistic. Write those down. If you start tracking these and then read them to somebody, say, look at the way I've been talking to myself. Be completely honest, like the words that you use and what you mean and the context that it was saying, and let a friend read how you talk to yourself. They'd probably be shocked. And I'll bet you would never, and then I dare you to go and talk to your parents or take those words and say it to a friend or meet somebody, a stranger in the grocery store, look at him and start reading this off as if you were talking to that person. You wouldn't talk to people like that. So why would you talk to yourself that way? When you notice a negative thought, pause and question its accuracy. Is this what I'm saying is true? Ask yourself, is this true? Is there another way to view this situation? Always look for another, and that's another cool thing chess has taught me about. I have these emotions, these stupid, irrational thoughts that come to my head when I view and observe the world or my family or my wife, and it hits me with an emotion that maybe I want to argue or be suspicious or, and I have to stop and go, let me think 3 or 4 moves ahead. Are there other views and angles that this could be that I'm not looking at, but this one evil negative one is the one that's popping out, and that's the one I'm hanging on to right now, really? And I'm about to go die on a hill for this? Watch those thoughts. Are the thoughts you're thinking and the speech you're saying to yourself, are they really true? Reframe with positivity. Turn the negative statement into a positive one. For example, instead of saying, I can't do this, right? This is an old one. I will do my best and I will learn from the experience. I can't do it. Or you can say, I can't do it yet. I will be able to. And instantly hit it with positive salt. Put some salt on that bad boy. Use present tense. Frame your affirmations in the present tense as if they are already happening. For instance, I am capable and strong instead of I will be capable and strong. I will be a good chess player. There you go. I am a good chess player. Then I feel like I'm lying. Be specific. Tailor your affirmations to specific areas you want to improve or goals you wish to achieve. This makes affirmations more relevant and powerful. Incorporate this stuff into your daily routines. What you're doing is building habits, right? Where did I put that? I may be jumping ahead here. But what you're doing here is building habits because you have habitually put your mind into this habit of negativity, and speaking to yourself like this has become an ingrained habit. And now you have to build a new habit, which is hard to do. And so you're having to do this battle. And so you have to stick with it to rebuild this habit, to destroy this other habit. To build a good habit, you have to destroy the bad habit. And it's hard. And that's why you have to decide. And that's why we love that word decide, because it comes from, in the Latin, words from like homicide, pesticide, to put to death, right? Decide. And so when you decide something, you have to take something over here and put it to death and grab onto something over here. Make a decision to decide. You have to commit, decide, just like you would commit homicide or use pesticide or commit genocide. You have to commit, decide when you make a decision to build a new habit. Strength in action. When you move your body, you lift your spirit. We always talk about exercise on this. And once you start physically moving your body, getting healthy, eating right, and you start noticing changes like 3-4 months later, your stomach starts to flatten. The first thing people usually notice is it in your cheeks and in your face. Wow, you're starting to look good. And people are starting to give you this affirmations. The better you look, the better you feel. The stronger you feel, the better you feel. It all plays together, right? So you're getting your positive self-talk into motion. You're starting to make choices in life that are the next right choice. You're starting to get rid of guilt and shame because you've accepted that you need help and you're moving on. And now you're working on your physical fitness in your body and you're feeling stronger. You're doing things more easily. You're starting to feel more confidence. And guess what? Your self-esteem is going straight up. So use physical activity to build your self-confidence. I know that when I was in the middle of my alcohol addiction, right towards the end, say the last 6 months, last year of my binge drinking, I was weak. I was extremely overweight. And I remember, because I was so strong before that, from age like 29, 28, or even in my stucco construction career, I've always been really strong. And then I started working out a couple times a day, and on the base, they paid me to work out 3 hours a week. So 2 days out of the week, I'd take an hour and a half and work out, and I got really fit. All the way up until about 35 years old, that's when I started drinking. And then by the time I was 38, 39, I couldn't pick up like 25 pounds. Seriously, I'd grab a box at work or something and have to move the box from here to there. And I could remember my legs shaking because I didn't have any good nutrition in my legs. It was full of poisonous alcohol all the time. My legs would shake. I would feel, I'd get out of breath. I'd sweat for no reason. And my self-esteem, trash. Now I'm back. Been hitting the gym hard for 3 years. I'm back to being extremely strong again. I feel good. I kept up last night. I went out. So my second exercise of the day yesterday was playing basketball with my 2 oldest boys. Are we good at basketball? Heck no. Suck at basketball, but we had a blast. Just played some 21. Yeah, you played 21. And a while ago played. It was fun. Got our sweat going on, and guess what? I'm 44 years old, keeping up with a couple of teenagers. Before, I wouldn't even have tried playing basketball because I would have been at home halfway through a 5th of whiskey, like an idiot. And it feels good to be able to get out there with my kids. My oldest son was like, dude, Dad, this is awesome. We get to play sports together. It was great. Discover new passions and build new hobbies. New skills bring new levels of confidence. I'm better than the average player at chess. That's a new skill that I've been trying to learn. And guess what? I feel a little smarter because of that. And guess what? That brings some new confidence. Find a skill, find a hobby, find something, try new things until you find something you can get good at that you like to get good at. Anything you learn to get good at builds self-esteem. So I encourage you to find new interests and then celebrate milestones of learning. Like Steffi, if you're watching out there, Steffi, love that you're challenging yourself to learn songs on the guitar. I love the guitar. You know how much I have a passion artistically for music and just anything artistic, but to grab the guitar and learn something, and then once you've learned it and mastered it, that's a skill. I mean, that stuff feels good. That's going to build some self-confidence and some self-esteem. I love it. And then don't underestimate the power of looking your best. Dress up, dress nice, look good, feel good. I see pasted on Facebook sometimes, and people that are using this technique to help build their self-esteem. Get up in the morning, be well groomed. Or if you like the heavy hair hippie look and you feel good doing that, do it. Whatever you like to do with your body and your appearance, do it to the best of your ability. Get up, get cleaned up, put on some nice clothes, feel sharp. And if you do that first thing in the morning, if you give yourself enough time to get up in the morning, meditate, get your mind right on track, get out in your closet, put on your nicest clothes, feel clean and sharp, feel like you smell good, your confidence and your self-esteem goes up. You can walk into a room with your head held a little higher. It's just a psychological effect that will impact you. Look good, feel good. Overcoming critics, screw the critics, right? Conquer your inner critic to unlock true self-confidence. You got to build new thought patterns. We've already talked about that. Also, you want to surround yourself with positive people building healthy habits. All right, let me catch up on these comments real quick. I think Brad and Marilyn are discussing the Zoom meeting tonight, emails, or the power of yet. I can't do this yet. Absolutely. I could, and I will. I just can't yet. I could take care. All right, Draven got a piano for Christmas and looked at it, and I was like a ghost when I played Johnny B. Yeah. You're like, oh my gosh, Dad can play the piano? Can you really, dude? Or are you just talking schmack? I am my own. Yeah, me too, dude. We are all our own worst critics. We figured, Brad. Anybody that knows Brad, like instantly got that, bro. But surround yourself with positive people. They rub off. Positive attitudes rub off. Negative attitudes rub off. It talks about in the Bible that if you are around an angry man, that you will become an angry one too. And anger leads to self-destruction. Bad stuff, right? And so if you put yourself around, you want to be a millionaire, go start hanging out with millionaire people. You start learning how they think. You start seeing their habits, and they start rubbing off on you. And if you don't think that's true, why do people move to England and then come back after a few years with an English accent? Why do people go from Utah, and I've seen this, I've witnessed this before, move from Utah, go to Tennessee, live in Tennessee for 4 or 5 years, and come back like, hey, y'all, what? You were born in Utah. You never spoke like that before, but now you come back and you have a Tennessee accent and you can't hear it because it rubs off on you. You become like those who you are around. You want to be a bunch of whining, complaining, living in the solution type people, go hang out with them and watch what happens to your life. Or do you want to be a successful entrepreneur? Do you want to be successful positively? Do you want to affect people in your community? Go find people that are doing that already and say, hey, can I join you? What can I do? And serve. Get into those circles of people you want to be with and say, what can I do? Is there a broom around here? Can I sweep the floor? Start there. Can I take out the trash? I just want to be around y'all. And then get to know them. Start to listen to how they talk and the way they speak to each other. And it will start to rub off on you. You'll come back from Tennessee with an accent because it works. And then celebrate your small victories every step of the way. The fact that you logged on here, the fact that you're in recovery, the fact that you've quit drinking is an awesome thing to celebrate. The fact that you are putting these things into practice daily is something to celebrate. Celebrate those small victories and then encourage and share them with people. And have a place to share that with people. Like, hey, I achieved this. Because then you encourage them, and then they likewise return encouragement to you. And it's just this thing that builds itself. All right, any questions before I jump off this thing? Because Linky and I are about to go to Vaza and sit in a steam room, and then we're going to work out a little bit. And then remember, like I said, I got shoulder surgery coming up. So if you're a prayer, keep me in your prayers. I would appreciate that. You talk trash to me for still saying yins. Yins. Because I don't want to sound like these degenerates. Yeah. All you guys out there sound like degenerates to me no matter where you're from. Just kidding. I've been watching this movie with... You notice, like, I even notice stupid accents rub off on me just from watching movies. I've been watching this show every once in a while called Fargo. And they're from Montana, don't you know? And that accent's, like, rubbing off on me. And those guys sound funny. But anyway. Ready? God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I will be back tomorrow at 7, going to hang out with my son Linky today. So until then, do not put yourself in a high-risk situation. Stay strong, work your programs, and remember, say it with me, we recover better together.